And again, thank you for coming to our Glow and Flow Wellness Workshop. Today we are joined by Kristen Jiosi. Kristen has earned her bachelor's degree in healthcare administration and master's in special education. Kristen has been working in the field with intellectual and developmental disabilities since 2013. Combining her passion in this field and for health and wellness, Kristen decided to start her own business serving the special needs community in 2020. Kristen is a healing coach certified in the following areas: yoga, yin yoga, meditation, art therapy, life coaching, holistic nutritionist, cooking whole foods, somatic exercises, and Pilates. Kristen is also the author of a children's book called The Peaceful Potato, which I have, and it is so fun. Kristen is a big animal lover and enjoys spending time with her golden retriever Bailey, and we are all animal lovers here. Thank you so much, Kristen, for joining us and for doing this for us. We're very, very excited. And I will turn it over to you. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you guys for having me. Hi, everybody. I am Kristen, as Erin just introduced me. So today we're going to do the Glow and Flow webinar. We're going to do a little bit of slides, like a little slideshow, and then also we'll do some interactive stuff where we can work with face massage. If you guys have a Gua Sha, you could use a Gua Sha. If you do not have a Gua Sha, that is okay too. You could always do these movements with your hands as well. Okay, let me get this pulled up here. Okay, I might have to share first. Okay, before I get started, can everybody see the slideshow?
It looks good.
Okay, just want to make sure because sometimes when you share your screen, not everything shows. Okay, so welcome. I'm Kristen, owner of Peaceful Potato. These are the things we're going to go over today: Gua Sha, somatic movement, and face massage. So, as I said, daily healing routine. We're going to kind of jump into all of this. We're going to kind of dive deep and learn about, all of these weird words that I'm probably saying, right? Like gua sha and somatics and things that we don't normally use in our everyday vocabulary. Okay. So, what is gua sha? Gua sha is an ancient Chinese healing technique where you use a smooth edged tool. You kind of gently scrape, they say scrape the skin, but you're not actually scraping, you're going to do it nice and light. Lighter the better. And you normally use it in upward strokes. It's traditionally used on the body. You could even use it on your arms, your legs. They even have really big gua shas now where people use it on their tummy area and just so many different variations of gua sha. I like to stick to the face one, though. I feel like that one's the most beneficial for me. So gua means to scrape, and sha means redness or rash. Don't worry about the word redness or rash. This applies to traditional full body techniques. So sometimes when we're getting the skin prepped, we will see maybe a little bit of redness, but that's just getting the blood flowing. So the top benefits of gua sha. So we have here boost circulation, reduce puffiness, drains the limbs, relieves muscle tension, and enhances the glow. So let's dive a little bit deeper into that. So boosting the circulation helps to make the skin glow. Natural rosy glow. It turns the lights on in your face, I like to say. So we're turning the lights on in our face, we're getting that natural glow. Also, lymphatic drainage helps move the limbs, and that works with a fluid that carries toxins. So when we're doing that gua sha movement, we're taking some of the toxins out of our body. And it also can help depuff the face, so make the face look a little bit slimmer and not as puffy. Sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you might notice like a little puffiness. So this would be a great routine to do in the morning, especially like right before you go in the shower or anything like that. So then it also helps with facial tension, tight jaw, furrow brow. The gua sha helps release tension stored in your face. I always recommend before doing any exercises to consult with your doctor, especially for somebody that might have TMJ, any kind of issues with the jaw. You want to make sure that you're going extra light when you're doing these movements. It also helps with reducing fine lines and wrinkles. So the way that that works is increasing blood flow. It encourages the collagen that's in our skin. It makes the production more collagen production. That helps us get that bounce back protein. It eliminates the fine lines and the wrinkles. Also helps with contouring and sculpting. So regular, you can use it as like a lift, defining the cheekbones, the jawline, and the brows. There is no needles required, so this is not anything that you would have to get like a surgery to do. It's all natural and it's good for your skin. It also helps promote relaxation and helps the nervous system support. So it helps you slow your breath, soothes your mind. It's great for winding down at night. And one thing I'm going to throw in here that's not in my notes is we can also use the Gua Sha on our neck. So again, very light, but we have something called the vagus nerve that helps with our nervous system regulation. So sometimes just taking that Gua Sha and taking it lightly over the neck, which we'll go over it, and I'll share my screen and we'll go over it. But going over that area very lightly by the vagus nerve helps calm the nervous system down, helps starts to regulate that vagus nerve. So it's definitely something that you could do in the morning to help with things like lymphatic drainage, facial tension. Sometimes we clench our jaw at night, grind our teeth, also to help reduce the puffiness. But it's also good to do it at nighttime too, because that'll help kind of wind you down and calm you down, especially if you have a hard time sleeping at night. So let's talk about how it's used. So you always want to start with a clean face. No makeup, no heavy lotions, no suntan lotion. That's why I recommend like doing it in the morning before a shower. And you're gonna apply a facial oil or a serum. I'm not gonna promote any at this time just because I don't want to, promote products that might not be for you. I always like to say though, when I'm picking a product like an oil or a serum, I like it to be as pure as possible. So no additive ingredients, kind of organic. I like to go with a more organic brand. Everybody has their preference though. So we're gonna start with our serum, and then we're gonna hold the tool at a 50-degree angle. So I'm just gonna stop my share for 1 second here. So at a 15-degree angle. So almost like it's flat, right? And then we're going to use gentle upward, outward strokes. So that's always to do the lymphatic drainage. So if I start at the chin here, I'm going to take it up and then out, up and out. And you could do this a couple times on each side. Now, the Gua Sha that I have here, this is a stainless steel one. So there's all different kinds. I have stainless steel, I have a rose quartz. I used to have a jade one, but I dropped it and it broke. So be careful with that too, because these are really made out of, quartz and such. The stainless steel one, not as easy to break because it's very solid. But being careful with that. So the ones that I have like these little nooks in it. They do have other gua shas that I do not have that have like rigid ends in it. Those are more for like the fine lines and wrinkles. So this is more for the puffiness, the draining the lymphs, and we would do it on both sides. But you want to take your time. It's not something you want to rush. You don't want to really quickly do that because you could have injury, bruising. You just want to take it nice and slow and make sure you're doing it as relaxed as possible. Sometimes they'll even say as lazy as possible. Okay, so that's how you would use it. Now, you can also use it on your forehead. So just taking it on the flat side, bringing it up. And we are going to go through a routine too. I'm just running through a couple of these things. And you could also do the cheek bone by starting at the nose underneath the eye and swiping up into the ear. Okay. All right, those are just a couple of things. So when you're doing your gua sha, you want to make sure that you're doing each section 3 to 5 times. So that's your neck, your jawline, your cheek, under eyes, brows, and forehead. Okay, coming back into here. All right, so after you are done using your gua sha, please clean it. You can use alcohol wipes. You could just use alcohol on a cotton ball. You can just use soap and water and let it dry. Those are really healthy ways to clean your gua sha because just remember, you're getting all of the oils on your skin on your gua sha. So if you're having a very oily day or anything, if you have an irritation or a cold sore, you don't want to continue to use the same thing over and over again. You want to make sure that you're cleaning it. So, a couple fun facts about the gua sha. It's been used for over 700 years. It's a long time, right? Especially because I feel like it's only been trending maybe a couple of years in the United States. It was originally supposed to be a healing treatment for the body for pain and fevers. And one other fun fact, modern celebrities like Cameron Diaz and Gwyneth Paltrow also love using the gua sha. So just a couple of fun facts. Okay. All right, so moving on from there. So we talked about the benefits. Now we're going to move on to tools and oil. So as you can see in this slide here, look at all the different kinds of gua shas. Even though they all look the same, they all have a little bit of a different purpose. And if anybody's kind of into like crystals and stuff like that, you would know about this. But yeah, some of these I've never even heard of. So really interesting, all the different kinds that they have out there. Again, they do have some that have like the jagged edges too for more fine lines and wrinkles. Um, okay. So let's talk. We talked about the benefits. We talked about how to use it. So the next thing is like our popular materials here. So I do have them all listed. So I'm going to kind of break down a couple of them to you and what they're used for. So the jade one, which is the green one right here, the second one in, it's for cooling and calming. So it's great for soothing and balancing the skin. The rose quartz, which is one of my favorite ones. That one is for sensitive skin and for self-love rituals. I don't see this one on here, but there is the bean stone, which is for grounding with high mineral content. So that high mineral content helps with the grounding. Then there's amethyst, and that helps reducing puffiness and calming the mind. And then stainless steel, like the one that I showed you that I was using. Our stainless steel one is very easy to clean, not easy to break, which is great. And it's professional grade. So the one good thing about the stainless steel one is you might at some points, especially shopping on places like Amazon, if you're going for like the lowest grade or the one that is a little bit cheaper, then you wind up not knowing if it's really like rose quartz or you're not sure of the quality of it. So the stainless steel is always a good option because it's professional grade. Okay, and then we were talking about different shapes. So they have different ones. They have the heart shape, which is the most common one, the ones that are on the screen. They have a mushroom shape, which is great for acupressure and the eye area. Then the comb edge, like I was talking about with the edges, that's good you could use that for your scalp too, stimulating the scalp. Anybody that has oil buildup or even dry skin and dandruff, that's a great option. That also helps with circulation as well. And then they have one called the wing dolphin, and that fits your facial contour. So that's good for the chin and the neck. And then, as I told you, they also have like really big ones now. that people will use for like their full body, doing their legs and bigger areas than the face. So when you're using your gua sha, you need to look at some oils. So you need an oil that has a little bit of slip to it. You don't want to be dragging your face where it almost feels uncomfortable. So you want something a little bit more oily. And we'll go over different ones that may benefit you. And, every individual is different, like I said. So we have jojoba oil, which is a very, very popular one that balances the oil. It mimics skin's natural like sebum, so it's like the natural oils in your skin. Then there's rose hip. That one is good for dry, mature skin, so it's better for anti-aging and brightening. They have marula oil, which is hydrating, so somebody with drier skin can definitely benefit from marula. There is argan oil that is good for nourishing. It has a lot of vitamin E in it. It's a dry combo type of skin. Then there's the squalane, and that's lightweight, and that is for sensitive skin. So for somebody that might get a little bit more acne, that would be good for that. And then there is blue tansy, also great for acne, and that's for anti-inflammatory and calming. And any questions that you guys might have, we can answer at the end. You could put it in the chat and then I can, put the answer in there for you. I know this is a lot of information. Um, and then bonus, you could always add in essential oils, a drop of essential oil. So if you want something more calming, you can add a drop of lavender oil. So they call the like jojoba and argan oil, those are carrier oils. So you're always able to mix in like an essential oil with that. Do not overdo the essential oil. One drop goes a very long way. And then a pro tip for picking out your oil. Patch test. So patch test means you want to try it on your skin first in a little tiny area of your skin. Maybe try it on your wrist or on your arm, not on your face first, and just make sure that you don't have any kind of allergies or any kind of reaction to the oil. So trying it out first before putting it all over your face is a big pro tip. You can warm the oils in your hands for like a spa-like experience. So just taking them, rubbing your hands together, and then putting it on your face. And like I said, a few drops go a long way. You don't want to be super, super oily. Okay. All right, so we went on our tools and our oil. And we're going to talk about our gua sha techniques before we. Okay, so moving from the center outward, always glide down the neck. So we'll talk about that too, but when you're doing your neck, you always want to go down because when you go down, you're going in the way of your heart. So you're following your heart's pattern here. And then when you're doing the face, you go up. Foreheads and temple, cheek and jaw. Okay, so we're gonna go into a little bit of a technique here. Let me unshare my screen. Okay. I just see it. Okay. All right. So gua sha. I'll take my rose quartz one now. So we're gonna start with our shallow angle, about 15 degrees, like we said. I am not gonna put oil on my face right now, but I do have some cream on from before. So you would apply your oil first, make sure that you put it on the areas that you're gonna use to make sure that you have the gliding. And let's start with the neck routine. So if you have long hair, maybe tie it back so it's behind your shoulders because you don't want to rip your hair out with the tool. And we're going to start with the jawline. So we're going to start up here and we're going to have that flat area. And we're going to just gently bring it down and you could bring it almost to the shoulder. So we're going to do 5 strokes in each area. And then you're going to move a little bit closer. We're not going to go right on the throat. We're going to just go next to it. 5 strokes. And then we're going to go right to the other side. So right underneath the ear, right where the jaw is. And we're going to do our 5 strokes. You could do up to 10 strokes as well. You want to do long strokes. You do not want to rush this. So then we're going to move over right next to the throat. And if you have earrings, you might want to take them out, especially if you have ones that are dangling. Okay, so now we did both sides of our neck. Now we're going to avoid the throat area, but we are going to lift up the chin here, and we're going to get that area that they could sometimes call a double chin. And we're just going to take it from the chin flat side and just go down maybe 1.5 inches or 1 inch. So putting that stroke down. And you could do 5 to 10 here. Sometimes some people like to hold, and what I mean by hold is they will take it and stroke and then hold. So that's another option you could do too. Kind of feel that tension leaving. I could actually feel like everything opening up as I do it. So that is our neck technique. So now let's move on to the collarbone. So you could do the collarbone too. And easier if you're just like, if you have like a tank top on, you could put some oil there. I'm going to do it over my shirt though. So you're going to take it underneath the collarbone and you're going to just start from the middle and swipe out. Start from the middle and swipe out. And we do hold a lot of tension sometimes here. So this could be very beneficial. You don't want to be on top of the collarbone. That can hurt the bone. You want to be underneath it. Okay, and you could do 5 to 10 strokes here. And then we'll do the other side. Good. Okay. And then we're going to move on to the jawline and the chin. So I know I was demonstrating that a little before. So we're going to take our edge here that has the nook in there. We're going to start at the chin and we're going to bring it up towards the ear. And we're going to do that 5 times. Again, you could kind of hold it if you'd like. Okay, and then we'll do the other side. This is probably one of the most relaxing ones. You want to use that curved edge to kind of hug the jawbone. And if this starts to kind of feel weird, there's other methods that you could do. Like if you feel like you're stretching the skin too much, some people will put 2 fingers on the chin and then do it. So they kind of have like a little guidance. They're not going too far over to the other side. So that's another tip that you could do. Let's go on to the cheeks. I will remove my glasses for this one. So we're going to glide from the side of the nose to the ear and lift and sculpt. So we're using that flat edge. And we're going to start at the nose, bring it over to the cheek and to the ear. And we could do that 5 times. Sometimes I even do this midday, just like when you're feeling that tension of the day and you're sitting through your work day or you're at day program, or I just sometimes like to do it right in the middle of the day to relieve some tension in my face. So we're doing the other side same way to the ear. And this again is gentle pressure. smooth strokes, flat side of the Gua Sha. Okay, so those are your cheeks. Now we're going to go to the under eyes. So we're going to use the small edge or the round side of the tool. Okay, so here's the smaller edge. And with that part, we're going to just round side to side, gently gliding from the inner corner of the eye to the temple. So I'm going to take that smaller side and I'm going to take it up towards the temple. Please remember, do not be too rough on the temple area. You want to just do nice and gentle. So we're almost getting under eyes, but we're also getting a little bit of the cheek as well. And we'll do the other side. Good. All right, now we're going to move on to our brows and our forehead. So we're going to glide from the center of the forehead out towards the temple. So we're going to use the flat side for that. We're going to start in the middle and bring it down to the temple. Flat side, bring it down to the temple. As always, light pressure. Great. Okay, now we're going to lift just from above the brow. We're going to again use that flat side. So we're going to come on one side here and we're going to lift up to the hairline. Lift up to the hairline. And this we're going to break into 3 sections of the forehead. I always like to do one side and then the other side, and then I go to the middle. And then we'll do the middle. So right from the top of the nose to the forehead, all the way up to the hairline. Good. And one other one that I like to do with the eyebrows too is take it right in between and just kind of sweep down, take the shape of your eyebrow, sweep it into the temple. And the other side. Good. And then I always like to drain the limbs after we do the face. This is like the final thing I'll do at the end. Even though we started with the neck, we were opening the limbs, starting with the neck. Now we're draining, and then we're going to go back into the neck. So just like we did in the beginning, we're going to do our strokes here. On the one side under the ear, then the other side. And then we're going to come to the other, going closer to the throat, but not on the throat. And the other side. Good. And then we'll just do that little chin part. Maybe just an inch. Good. Okay, so that is one Gua Sha routine that I really like. It kind of just opens everything up. So it's definitely one of my favorites. Okay, let's come back. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's come back into, okay, we talked about our techniques here. So now we're going to move into some somatic movements. So a little bit different than Gua Sha. We're not going to use any props or anything with this. So, how somatic movement works. So, you're connecting with the body's wisdom. A lot of people that start somatic exercises are looking to release tension and to help release trauma that is stored in the body. So, anybody with PTSD, this can be very beneficial for them to release the trauma and let go of it so it's no longer stored in the body. And that might sound a little complex because it is. It is very complex. So, how it works. So, somatic movement recognizes that stress, trauma, and emotions can become stored in the body as physical tension and patterns of the movement. It aims to help individuals release these held patterns and restore a sense of ease and well being. Here's how it generally works, starting with mindful awareness. Practitioners are encouraged to slow down, turn their attention inward, and become acutely aware of the sensation in their bodies as they move. This includes noticing tension, relaxation, and subtle interplay of muscles and joints. So, somatic exercise wants you to be mindful of your movements. And what they mean by that is the slower the better, and the lazier the better. You want to do them as lazy as possible. So it's good for releasing chronic tension. The focus shifts from forcing the body into certain positions to gently release chronically tight muscles and movement patterns. So it's not like yoga. Yoga could be a little bit more intense with holding postures. Like I said, I'll keep saying it, the laziest way possible that you want to do things. Connecting mind and body. Somatic movement encourages the integration of mind and body, helping individuals understand how their thoughts, emotions, and past experience impact their physical sensations. So, what they mean by this is you're starting to connect your mind and your body. So, if you're holding on to some tension, and you start to do some somatic exercises and you start to feel a little emotional, you're getting that mind body connection where you're going to release that trauma, release that pain, release any tension that you're holding. There's also active learning and exploration. So individuals are guided to explore gentle, natural movements, often based on the developmental patterns to re-educate the nervous system and discover new ways of moving that are more efficient and less restrictive. Anybody could do these movements. You could be in a chair, you could be on your mat, you could be on your bed. Anywhere that feels comfortable for you, you can do these exercises. And then there's self-regulation and empowerment. The ultimate goal is to empower individuals to become their own experts in managing their physical and emotional well-being. They learn to listen to their bodies, identify their needs, and implement self-care practices to maintain a sense of balance and ease. Somatic exercises can range from 2 minutes a day to 40 minutes a day. It depends how you want to integrate it in your practice. It is not something that you have to commit to for 30, 40 minutes. It's something that you could do for 2 minutes to just unwind, get the nervous system moving, and try to release any tension that you might be holding in that area. There's so many different exercises out there. And sometimes when you're doing these exercises, you kind of feel like you're not doing anything, but you are. You're opening up something called the fascia, and the fascia is something like I like to call like a spider web. Over time, the web gets bigger and bigger and bigger and harder and harder and harder to untangle. So when you're doing these smaller movements, you're opening that spider web, the fascia. And it's just so beneficial, like to just release any pain that you're holding in your body. So let's talk about techniques and practice. So there's various techniques, as I said, and practices fall under the umbrella of somatic movement. So there's somatic stretching that involves gentle movements and awareness of how muscles feel in different positions. aiming to release tension and improve flexibility rather than forcing a stretch. So that's a little bit of the difference with yoga. Sometimes we're trying to be forced into a posture, right? This is something that you're not going to force. If something doesn't feel good to you, you're going to do it less. So if you're in a posture and you're doing it and it's like, "Oh, that doesn't feel right." Do you do it slower or you stop and take a full rest? Um, then there's the mindful movement. So practices like yoga, tai chi, Pilates, and dance, they approach with a focus of internal sensation and breath awareness. It could also be considered the same for somatic movement. There's also breath work that's involved. Conscious and intentional breathing techniques help regulate the nervous system, release stress, and promote a sense of calm. Breath work can be very easy for some, and other people find that breath work can be a little hard to do. And we'll go over that. And then also with somatics, you're doing a lot of body scanning, mentally scanning the body, noticing sensations without judgment, increasing your body awareness, and identifying the areas of tension. And then there's also the somatic experience, a specific therapeutic approach that helps individuals release trauma stored in the body and safely processing the sensations. So again, you might experience things in somatic exercise. Um, you might yawn. Yawning just means that your nervous system is catching up with itself. You might get grumbling in your tummy. That means that your nervous system is regulating and you're calming down. You might also, um, you might cry. You might cry. You might have a very big release where you cry, and that's okay. Better out than in, I always say. You also might experience minor shaking, like if you're doing something with your legs and you're moving them slow in and out, you might feel that shaking. Again, very, very normal. So those are things not to be scared of, but if they ever feel intense, you could always go slower or just take a full rest, as I said. Okay, so after all that, benefits, I think we kind of went over relieving chronic pain, increasing flexibility and mobility, reducing stress and anxiety, healing from trauma, enhanced emotional well-being, improving your posture and your balance, and increase your self-awareness. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, but I have had some students that had releases within a couple of days. I've also had some students that couldn't have a release for over 60 days. But it's not always fully the goal just to have a release, but some people really do appreciate the release. Okay, so that's our somatic movements. So let's slide into we're gonna just do a little chair one today, so nobody has to get on the floor. I prefer being on the floor just because there's a lot more postures that you can perform when you're on the mat. But you can do it in the chair, you could do it in a wheelchair, you could do it anywhere. Okay. All right, so this sequence is going to focus on releasing some tension in your back and your neck, shoulders, those common areas since we're going to be in the chair. Remember to move slowly and gently and tune in with your body sensation. If anything hurts at any time, please stop and take a rest. All right, so we're going to sit nice and tall in our chair. You want to have your feet flat on the ground. Ideally, not leaning against the chair's back, but you want to be nice and tall. Let those shoulders kind of fall away from the ears. And feel your chest open up. Engage your core gently by drawing the navel, which is your belly button, towards your spine. So you want to engage that core here. Take a few slow, deep breaths to center yourself. Inhaling through the nose And exhale. Inhale and exhale. And let's do one more. Big breath in and out. And let's start with a little of our seated cat and cow. So this might be something that you've done in yoga class before. So a nice tall spine, shoulders away from the ears. You could let the hands rest on the knees or the thighs if that feels good. And we're going to take this a little slower than a cat and cow. So we're going to drop the belly, lift the chin up, nice and easy. No big movements here. And then slowly exhale around chin to chest, the shoulders come up. Inhale up. And then we'll round here. Let's repeat this a couple times, going up and down, again, as slow and lazy as possible. We're opening up the spine, the chest, the shoulders. Good. Let's do one more together. Good. And we'll take a pause here. Now we're going to take a full rest, whatever that looks like for you, and just check in with your body. Do that body scan and see how you're feeling. Good. Now we're going to come into something that I like to call the pelvic clock. So again, we're going to bring the hands to the knees or to the thighs. Knees would probably be better for this one. And we're going to trace a clock, so a circle with our torso. And we're going to move gently in this circle. And it's going to be nice and slow. You don't want to take it fast at all. This is opening up all the notches in the spine. Again, nice and lazy. We're circling in one direction here. And then we're going to take a pause back to center. And we're going to go the other direction. So circling, just picture that clock like you're at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6, and 9. Circling here. And we'll take our pause here. And let's take that body scan. See how you're feeling, opening up that spine. We're going to give the spine a little break here. We're going to come into neck rolls. So our neck rolls, we're going to gently tilt our right ear towards the right shoulder. And just feel that stretch along the left side of your neck. And then we're going to take our chin, we're going to draw it to our right shoulder. And then taking it back to center. Let's do 2 more of these, chin to shoulder. And back to center. 1 more. And back to center. Coming up for a moment before we switch sides. Chin comes to chest. And we'll bring it over to the left. Back to center. Again, nice and slow. And our last one. And back to center. Good. And we're going to just do one more somatic so we could jump into some of our facial massage as well with the fingertips. We're going to take our right hand, we're going to take it over to the left knee. We're going to do a nice tall spine here. Start to look over. And then on every exhale, you're going to take it a little further and look over a little more. So do this with every exhale. And let's take that back to center. Take a moment to reset. You might even feel a little bit of warmness, tingly in the body with those deeper stretches. And only come as far as feels good for you. So now we're going to bring our left hand to the right knee. Nice tall spine. Looking over the right shoulder. And on every exhale, we twist a little more. And then we'll take that back to center. Good. And then we're just going to end with those big 3 deep breaths that we did. Checking in here. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in and out. And one more big breath in and out. Good. All right, so that was some of our somatics here. Now we're going to jump into our face massage. Okay, we did some of that stuff. So we're going to use our fingertips, maybe some circle and tapping. I know we're starting to run out of a little time here. So we're going to briefly brush on this. Maybe we've already done some center breathing, so we'll leave that part out. Okay, so let's start with the forehead. We're going to place our fingertips together in the middle of our forehead. And then we're going to press firmly just for a moment, and we're going to swipe down. So forehead in the middle, take it to the sides by the temple. Gently glide your fingertips towards the temple. And that one you can repeat 3 to 5 times. Then we have around the eyes. We'll use our ring finger. So that is the one that's next to the pinky. And we're going to do a little bit of pressure for the delicate skin around the eyes. So we're going to just tap along first. Kind of feel that under eye thing. It's going to almost be like the shape of a U. And we'll just do a little tapping first, and then we'll swipe. So from the nose to the corner of the eye. Nose to corner of the eye. Perfect. And then we're going to do the same with the eyebrow. We're going to start by the nose, and we're going to swipe. You could tap first. Kind of get the area prepped. And then we'll swipe. Again, 3 to 5 times. And then we're going to go onto our cheek and our jawline. So we're going to start at the center of our chin using the fingertips to just glide up towards the ears. Again, gentle pressure. So these are things that we've been doing with the Gua Sha too, but if you don't have a Gua Sha, like I said, you can use your fingertips. And then you could do underneath your cheekbones to the ears. And if you want a little bit of a deeper one, you could take your thumb and kind of hold. This is good for like wrinkles, fine lines. So we'll take it out from the cheekbone and then kind of just hold. Do not hold on the temple. You're going to hold onto the cheekbone. Okay. And then for like some lymphatic drainage, we're going to do some tapping. So we can just kind of tap all those points that we just did. You don't want to hit yourself hard. This is again very gentle. Okay, so some tapping in those areas. And then we can also do some lymph drainage on the neck. So we want to just kind of take the fingertips and swipe down. Same on the other side. This also helps with opening up the throat a bit, any tension that's being held here. And we could do the same with the collarbone. Okay, and then normally that would be a little bit of a slower routine. And then we would end with a couple of big breaths. So kind of the same routine as the Gua Sha, but also a little bit different. Okay, I want to leave some time for some question and answer here. So we talked about our daily healing rituals. Self-care is very important. It's important to take care of yourself, have that time for you, and to take care of our body. Doing any wellness, any kind of holistic things is so important. So morning, using our breath work, using the Gua Sha, and then in the evening, you could do the massage or you could do the Gua Sha. Just be consistent. You don't have to be perfect. Like I said, if you could show up for yourself 2 minutes a day to do any of these exercises, whether it's the Gua Sha, the face yoga, or if you can do some somatic movement, that's great too. And then always closing with gratitude. Um, I always do my gratitude in the morning. I always say what I'm grateful for. It changes every day. Sometimes I repeat myself. I'm grateful for my dog. That one always comes up. I'm grateful for her health, but I do throw some things in there too that we don't even think about sometimes. Like I'm grateful for having 10 fingers. I'm grateful for having 10 toes. So just finding that time to find gratitude as well, so important. I could go on and on about this subject, so I will move on now to question and answers.
So we do have a question. Can you use castor oil when you do gua sha?
Yes, castor oil does have an excellent glide, and it also has, deep hydration and anti-inflammatory properties as well. So yes, you can absolutely use castor oil.
And where can you buy gua sha tools from?
You can do Amazon. There is also, I'm going to put in the chat, I don't know why I always like buying them from this website called iHerb. People might actually buy there. You could buy supplements and other stuff too, but they do have gua shas on there and I do trust their products. But Amazon works too, as long as you can find something like, decent quality, make sure that it's like professional grade.
And if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat or in the Q&A box. Sheila and Jordan said, thanks, this was amazing. I'm assuming Jordan's there with you, Sheila.
Thank you, Sheila and Jordan. It was nice having you guys.
Yeah, this was so relaxing, and I can see why people include this in a daily routine because it just really like got rid of so much tension, and like I feel really relaxed now. Even just like listening to you and watching you because I couldn't find my gua sha tool was very relaxing.
Yeah, no. And it's funny, like at first I'm like, am I going to be able to talk about this for an hour? And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm running out of time.
Faith also says thanks so much.
Oh, yes. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, this was amazing. So this again will be is being recorded. We will have this up on our website. We have a new webinar topic the first Tuesday of every month from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And you can see all of our past recorded webinars as well. I want to thank Kristen so much. This was so relaxing, and we haven't had this topic before, so it's very exciting. And again, if anyone has any questions that you think of after this webinar, please feel free to reach out to us. I'll put our email as well in the chat, and we can always pass them along to Kristen.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Kristen, for walking us through this, and I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your Tuesday.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.